Shalom, Kahala Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yashayah, Ba'Shem Rakol Kodash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and elders, the great millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect, who the house of David reborn again in this generation. And Shalom to the 130 Yashayah, who today were known as the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who before losing our true heritage, we were known as, and still are, the true Hebrew Israelites of the Holy Bible. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about the oppression of the poor. But let's read this first. This is Proverbs 21:13. Whoso stoppeth his ears at the cry of the poor, he also shall cry himself, but shall not be heard.
Hey everybody, how's it going? So if you needed any more proof that New York City was designed by assholes, I just thought I would put this here. This is from my old neighborhood. I used to live right around Marcy Avenue and Park in Brooklyn, and they have these grates where you'll have kind of hot air come up from underground. I think it's from the subway, I'm not exactly sure. But it'll just kind of, I think it's like for ventilating the subway. And what happened in the winter, because you have a lot of homeless people in New York City, because of both mental illness and also the fact that a shitty studio apartment can cost upwards of $2,200, is you had people that would sleep on these grates so that they wouldn't freeze to death. So you started at some point to have like 2 or 3 or 4 homeless people sleeping on these at a time. And what they did is, instead of like try to figure out how they can solve the root cause of the homeless problem, I talked about this in a recent video where New York City's paying $3,500 to $4,500 about a month to a, quote, charity that Cuomo had started 25 years ago. What they do is they put this stuff over it so that it's actually painful, so that now you can't lie down on this to sleep, because not only is it a metal grate, but it also sticks up in certain sections. Like you can see this one sticks up higher than some of the other sections, so that if somebody were to lie down on this, they would actually feel physical pain. And I'm confident that that would totally fix the homeless problem in New York City. All you got to do is put these grates on top of here, so that if someone tries to sleep somewhere where they will be warm and not die, they won't be able to. So good job, New York City, at tackling the homeless problem. Great job, as always. The $70 to $90 billion budget that we have per year at work. That's it for today. As always, I hope you learned something.
So I was just saying, they're in Babylon the Great's main city, around the main city, that is, around Brooklyn or New York. You know, they have a unique way of dealing with the poor trying to seek warmth, right? And this isn't like the only place you see stuff like this, man. There's homeless spikes, which again, if you're unaware, if they're in larger cities like here in downtown LA, they'll literally put metal or cement spikes in little corners of building hallways or entrances or under freeway passes, so that way the homeless can lay there, can set up shops. Now this is done all in the name of keeping a city beautiful or hospitable. However, these devils have no pity upon the poor that is more than likely made by the actions of the rich. You see, right now in Babylon the Great, America as it's known in the Bible, you have a large increase of homeless people, right? And this is happening because here in Babylon the Great, where everything is confusion and mixed upside down, Babylon allows investment into properties, right? People can actually invest money in housing, right? And how do they do this? Or why do they do this? Well, because you see, when corporations have run out of enough gold to buy or silver or commodities, things like that, what do? They go out and they purchase properties, right? Because properties is another way for these companies to save their purchasing power, right? Put their money into hard assets, right? Now, what does that cause? It causes poverty, man. It causes homelessness. There's lots of people out there who can't afford to buy a house, because you got all these rich investors here in Babylon the Great corporations who are basically just buying out the affordable homes to turn them into rental units that or just simply sit on them, and these are referred to as ghost houses and stuff, which basically are just owned by banks or investment companies, man. And who are the people who are being affected by this? You guessed it, Israelites, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? Because we're the poor when you get down to it, man. Right? This is Nahum 3:1. Woe to the bloody city! It is all full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not. Right? And America is that great bloody city, right? Babylon the Great. Babylon, when you get into the word, it goes back to the word Babal, which ultimately just means confusion, right? And America is basically a big ball of confusion when you get down to it, man. Things are done crazily here, man. Like the guy said, man, a little studio goes for $2,200 a month, right? And if you noticed in that video, made it very clear that that was a so-called Jewish neighborhood, man. Why do you think they put those grates there? Because those so-called Jews, those Amalekites, top tribe of Edom, they basically made complaints, or I wouldn't doubt that they made complaints about the homeless staying there in that neighborhood, man, on top of those, warm air crates, right? Well, like the guy said, man, you had Cuomo's non-profit organization that receives money to help the homeless. What do? They go out and they set up deterrents like that, right? And why do they do that? Well, because like it tells you here, man, the prey, right? The people who are the Israelites, we're the prey in this great city of America, right? Upon us is a whole, business and market built, man, right? It tells you in Wisdom of Solomon 15:12 that these devils basically, feed off of us like vultures, right? This is Wisdom of Solomon 15:12. But they counted our lifetime a pastime, and our time here a market for gain. For, say they, we must be getting every way, though it be by evil means, right? And you see organizations like that nonprofit that gets paid to help the homeless, but in fact sets up anti-homeless encampment structures like that. See, those are companies out there who have made it a point to get money from seeming like they're providing services to the poor, but in fact they're basically just lining their pockets, right? Bidding on government contracts or city contracts for certain things, and are more likely greasing the elbows of politicians so that way they get those contracts, and hence they keep getting all this money that should instead be going to the poor and goes right into their pockets, man. But again, this is just one of the reasons why Babylon the Great is a wicked place, man, on earth, right? The homeless people here are seen as a nuisance, and people here in Babylon the Great don't understand that there's a reason why people are homeless, man. A lot of homeless people have mental issues, and why is that? Well, because this place has driven them crazy. Instead of getting them the help that they need, basically they're ignored and they're pushed out into the streets, and then they're basically become the people's problem, man. This is Proverbs 22:16. He that oppresseth the poor to increase his riches, and he that giveth to the rich shall surely come to want. And that's ultimately what's going to happen to America, right? America, for all its wickedness and it's this just one example, right, of not taking care of the people, of Babylon the Great, of America, who are poor and destitute, who have been relegated to the streets, right? For them not taking care of people like that shows you how America really is, man. Right? Yes, they have welfare systems and everything, but when you get down to it, man, these welfare systems really aren't for the homeless, man. Right? The welfare system are for the people in the lower rungs of society that still are still functioning. right? The people who are homeless, who have mental issues and all stuff, these are the people who are below those type of resources, man. You know, but again, this is just a byproduct of the wickedness and how destructful Babylon the Great is, right? So I just thought I'd share that video. I seen it and I just thought it was so horrible. I know things like this exist, man, but I just wanted to highlight, you know, just some of Esau's wickedness, like it tells you in the scriptures, man, when the righteous are in rulership, the people rejoice, but when the wicked bear rule, the earth mourneth, man. And that's what's happening, man. The earth is in a languishing state, man, because these Edomites, these so-called Caucasians, are in rulership, man. Right? And like it tells you here, he that oppresses the poor. And who oppresses the poor? It's going to be Edom, right? The people who are currently in rulership over this world right now, man. So, we ain't got that much longer here, Akim, but still, man, just seeing this shit, vexes me. And I'm sure it vexes a lot of you people out there too. So, till the next time, I want to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yashayah, Ba'Shem Rakal Kodash. Double honors my teachers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and mercy to the elect. Shalom.